Okay. All right. It looks like we got everybody in here. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to today's video conference for the head coach's video conference for the 87th Capital One Orange Bowl. On the call today, we're going to have head coach Mack Brown of number 13 North Carolina. Number 5 Texas A&M's Jimbo Fisher will join us in about 20 minutes. Couple quick things before we get started. Media attending the 87th Capital One Orange Bowl in person are reminded to pick up their credentials at the Tennis Center at the Hard Rock Stadium today until 6 p.m. or tomorrow until 3 p.m. After 3 p.m. tomorrow, the credential office is moving to its normal location at the Southwest box office. That will open at 4 p.m. Parking gates for media open at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Media must enter through gate 4 and make a left to park at the Southwest gate. Parking passes this year are digital. You will be receiving an email with your orange lot parking pass shortly if you haven't already. Please print out that parking pass in color. You'll actually need the printed copy to get into the lot. And all of this information is on orangebowl.org/pressbox. And as always, a recording of today's video conference will be available on orangebowl.org/pressbox shortly after the press conference concludes. We'll send out links as soon as we're done with Coach Brown and Coach Fisher. For today's Zoom press conference, please keep yourself muted. Use the raise hand function to ask a question. I'll recognize you when it's your turn. You can then unmute your line and identify yourself and your affiliation. So with that, I will now turn it over to Coach Mack Brown for brief opening remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to everybody. We was talking to the players yesterday. We're glad to get 2020 behind us in so many ways, but for this team, it's been a blessing in a lot of ways too. We've learned a lot. We've handled adversity really well, or we wouldn't be here. The first time we've gone to a major bowl in 70 years. So these kids have really accomplished something. And we told them we're excited to be here. Now we want to play well and win the game. And that's very important against a great opponent. And our local reporters understand we've played against number 2 Notre Dame, number 10 Miami, and now number 5 A&M at the end of our season. So this is great for us to see where we are as a program and where we need to be. A&M and Notre Dame have been in this area before. They've stayed here a lot, and we haven't. And it's important for us to start trying to do everything within our power and recognizing what it takes to be a top 10 team, and then you work to the playoffs, and then you work to the national championship game. The Capital One Orange Bowl in our short time here has been wonderful. The fire department met us with a welcome yesterday. They had a tribute to our plane as we were pulling up. We had a 26-car escort coming to the hotel, so the kids liked that, and it was fun. And then a great team dinner last night with both teams, even though it was on Zoom. And they had an entertainer that was really good, kept their attention for like an hour. It's been a fun time since we got here. Our hotel's gorgeous. We're right on the water. So the guys have had a good day and a half. And understanding that the week's not going to be like a normal bowl week, the Orange Bowl is doing everything within their power to make these kids feel like it's bowl week and that they can get every advantage out of it that they possibly can. So with that, if you have any questions, we'll have a walkthrough today. We'll have our meetings. We'll have a walkthrough at a high school stadium. So this will be our normal Friday leading into a Saturday night game.
All right, thanks, Coach. First question is from Pranav. Go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Coach, you're dealing with 4 opt-outs on the roster this week. So how have you kind of prepped the other guys this week to kind of fill bigger roles?
Well, what we've done is number one, we love and applaud the 4 guys because they played so well for us that we wouldn't be here without them. That's 4,000 yards worth of offense and our leading tackler on defense and 2 captains. And this is new for me because I've never had a guy not play in a ball game. So what we've done is we've handled it like guys are injured. It's next man up. You've got to do the best you can do. We had one opt out a week ago, tomorrow. So we've had 3 practices without him. So what you do, you take the other players you can and like you would do on any week, try to figure out what you can do to be the best offense you can be with the players that are available and not talk about what you don't have.
Next up is Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Mac. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Tim.
Mac, I wanted to ask you, do you consider this, I mean, obviously getting to this game, this stage, it's obviously a perk for this team, of course. But in the bigger picture, is this the end of 2020 for you guys, or is this the start of 2021 season in some respects?
Tim, we think this is the start of 2021 simply because we're a different team now than we were when we were here a few weeks ago to play Miami. So we've said, let's honor our seniors. The guys that are playing, this is their last ball game with us. It's the last time our team will be together tomorrow night. So let's play for the seniors. Let's honor them. But also, some of the guys that will play tomorrow night haven't played very much. So they will step up next year, and they will be part of the future. So let's also take momentum from tomorrow night into the 22 recruiting class and into spring practice that we'll hopefully have this year, unlike last year. And that's the way we're approaching it. We have not mentioned the guys that aren't playing, have not been mentioned since the last press conference we had to the team. I mentioned it one time. I said we're not mad at them. I'm disappointed that they won't get to play because they want to play, and the circumstances keep them from playing. But we have moved forward.
Thank you, Mac. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Greg Barnes.
Good morning, Mac. You mentioned the team, not being in a bowl game of this stature in 70 years. The players haven't played on this type of stage. I'm curious, with the condensed bowl prep, is that actually a good thing with the guys being able to work within kind of the typical structure of a week-by-week practice setup?
Greg, it probably is. I wish we had longer to have worked because of the guys that aren't playing, because we're going to be a different team than we were when we were last down at Hard Rock Stadium. But our game with Miami, our game with Clemson last year, nobody thought we had any chance to win. So everybody said, they're going to kill them. And then we got in a game, had a chance to win, and didn't do it. But really showed us that we could. So we're better than we play. So let's play up to who we are, not just average. And then this year's game with Notre Dame, I felt like we thought we were going to win. We were in it for 3 quarters. We just didn't do what we needed to do in the second half offensively. But I thought the kids realized this is the number 2 team in the country. And now they say this is a playoff game. And I constantly say, who's going to win, Notre Dame or Alabama? Who's going to win, Clemson or Ohio State? And why? Tell me why. Why are these teams in the position they're in, and what do they have to do to win? So it's fun to listen to the young people and what they believe and what they think and talk. And they know that A&M is just as good as Notre Dame. And it probably came down to a really hard discussion at the end on who should be number 5, and that at some point we'll probably expand the playoffs and A&M would have been the first team in. So they understand the magnitude of the game. They know how good A&M is. They're very aware of the 4 guys we don't have playing. They know that not one person in America is going to pick us to win outside of our room. So we have very direct, transparent conversations all the time. So they're fully aware of the fun challenge, is what we call it, that's ahead of us tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Chris Heidel.
Good morning, Coach Brown. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Chris. Same to you.
Just talk about, you're taking on Jimbo Fisher. What type of offense is Jimbo Fisher at A&M prior to his trip to Florida State? Is it the same offense?
Chris, I was fortunate enough to do, I think, 3 of Jimbo's games when he was at Florida State when I was in TV. So I got to study them. I got to watch them. And they're like a pro offense. They're huge in the offensive line. Their tight end is as good as anybody in the country. guy's 6'6", he can run. He's a mismatch for everybody on your team. You cover him up to his hip. I mean, he's that much taller than everybody else with his length. They've got a 225-pound running back. They run downhill. So what they want to do is dominate the line of scrimmage, keep the football. Kellen Mond is a game manager, very much like Ian Book. He knows what to do. You sit and look at the end of the game. He hadn't turned the ball over, and he's 23 out of 28 passing, and he makes no mistakes. So Jimbo has done a great job of coaching these guys and making them understand who they are and who they want to be. I think they had the ball 40-something minutes against Tennessee, and Tennessee had 37 offensive plays. So you look up and the game's over and you haven't touched the ball. So you have to make sure that you make something out of every possession, because they're just they're going to be a physically dominating, time of possession dominating team that takes care of the ball.
And I want to ask you another question. With the weather coming tomorrow, it's going to be like the humidity always out in Miami is factor this time of year. How do you guys get yourself ready for the humidity? Because I know you were just down there for the Miami game, but this time of year, people from the north coming down to the south, not used to the heat and humidity.
Yeah, Chris, I wouldn't call us the north. We've had a little warm weather the last couple of days, but we're more north of here for sure. But our strength and conditioning staff and our nutrition staff, training staff, going into the pandemic age has done a tremendous job of making sure that we're hydrated, making sure that we're in great shape, and making sure that we're healthy. One of the real concerns this summer that we haven't had to deal with were soft tissue injuries, a lot of hamstring pulls and pull groins and those things, because you didn't have spring practice. You didn't have an off-season program. You didn't have your summer work like you normally would. And our guys studied it really well, and they've done a tremendous job of making it work. So I think we'll be okay. Biggest problem is trying to get off the field, because A&M just stays on the field and keeps the ball. And they're the best in the country at third down percentages, at making third downs. And it's because they're 3rd and 2, they're 3rd and 1. They're 3rd and 3 because they do so well on 1st and 2nd down, and they're doing what you need to do to win football games, and that's what makes it so tough to beat them.
That's true. Well, thank you so much, and have a good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Chris.
And next up is CL Brown.
CL, you're muted. Happy New Year, but
hey, thanks. With so many young guys on defense, especially like a Tony Grimes, who, you know, he's coming in and his first postseason experience is the Orange Bowl. What do you want to get across with this whole experience to kind of make guys understand they can't take this for granted, but also that this is the standard that you want this program to have?
Yeah, it's a great question. I talked to all the freshmen last night at different times and said, you do understand that not everybody gets to go to the Orange Bowl in their life. So come on, man. This is pretty cool. And here's Tony Grimes gets to go as a senior in high school. So that's even more crazy. He knows more of the incoming freshmen than he does the guys on our team, because that's his class. And he keeps waiting on those guys to get here, especially the early enrollees. He already knows who he's going to room with, and so he'll actually have a class that he can relate to better. I went back to, the guys do know I'm old. They understand that. So I went back the other day and said, you know what? I was born in 1951. It's been since 1950 since we went to a major bowl game. I was not alive, so that got their attention. They can't put history in perspective very often, but they said, oh my God, that is a long time. So they get that. And that was kind of fun for them. And then I showed them there's 12 teams that are playing in the January 6 games. There's just 12 out of 130. So understand that you are one of the top 12 teams in America chosen to play at the end of the year. And that's where you want to be. Last year's Military Bowl was fun. We enjoyed it. It was a great bowl week. This is more real about where we want to be and where we're going. And that's what they've got to understand.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next question is from Travis Brown.
Hey, Coach. Happy New Year. Two questions for you. First, I know coaches usually talk a lot about how important a typical traditional bowl practice is. How much of it does it put y'all back, or does it put any program back, not necessarily having that kind of full month bowl practice to get some reps for those younger guys, and what you utilize that for?
Travis, we love to use bowl preparation as an extra spring practice, and it makes it better. We're one of only 6 teams in the ACC out of the 15 we've got this year with Notre Dame that are going to a bowl. So it's a tremendous advantage when you get that. So it does hurt us that we lost last spring practice and we didn't have as much, but I do think 10 days or so, 8 days of really good physical practice will help us. And it does make a difference. And hopefully we'll have spring practice. But even if we don't, we've got a little better idea of some of the guys and where they would be. And Travis, we talked to the guys before we started bowl practice and said some of you will improve your status for spring and some of you will take a step back in the next week or so. So this is really, really important. And we treat it like a spring practice, and it's really physical. So, and we've seen some guys with the guys that aren't playing step up. There's some receivers that have looked better this week than they've looked all year because they see a chance to play. So we've still gotten a lot out of it, but I think you're right on that it's not going to be your normal advantage that you would have with 13 days of practice and really pretty much a full spring practice.
And then I know you mentioned that you covered a couple of Jimbo's games when he was at Florida State. I know y'all usually have those pre-game interviews. What stood out to you about some of those conversations, or when you think back, stood out to you about Jimbo and the conversations, the time that you had with him?
Well, Jimbo won a national championship, and to do that, you got to have a plan. You got to be confident. And Jimbo knows exactly what he wants in his football team. Mike Elko does an outstanding job with their defense of stopping the run. And after you stop the run, then you're going to get to the quarterback. And Jimbo has, you can tell whether he got it from Coach Bowden or whether he got it from Coach Saban, he has a plan of knowing exactly what he wants in every case. You can just watch his offense. And his offense, you can just in some ways predict, here's who they are. And they are not changing. They're not going to change regardless of the time of the game or who it is. He knows he's a great coach. He's done a tremendous job. He gets them in the right place. They've recruited as well as anybody in the country every year. And I'm really, really impressed with Jimbo Fisher and what he's done at A&M. When we were at Texas and A&M went to the SEC, I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that or not. And they are a factor in probably the hardest division in college football. And they've done a very, very good job in that area, and they're recruiting well. So I applaud Jimbo and A&M for all the success that they're having.
All right, got about 2 or 3 minutes left. Next, Greg Barnes, you have another question?
I do not.
Okay. Chris Heidel, do you have another question? Looks like Chris isn't there. Travis, did you have another one?
Oh, no, just didn't close my hand.
Okay. So I think that's all the questions we have. So, okay. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. And see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Everybody have a happy new year, and let's enjoy the games for the next couple of days, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. So now, let's see. Okay, now we're going to bring in Coach Jimbo Fisher. 1 second till he joins us. He's there. Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll just let you open up with a few quick remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions.
First, again, I've said it a million times, but again, to be in such a prestigious game, and for A&M, the last time we were here was 77 years ago, and haven't been in New Year's Six for a while either. So it's a great accomplishment for our players. Very proud of them. Very happy for our family and our organization to be here. But again, I always say this, Orange Bowl is as good as it gets. And to be able to come to South Florida and play in such a prestigious game with such great history and the great players and coaches and people who have participated in this game, it's phenomenal. You're treated first class. Everything is first class, and our kids are extremely excited to be here. We want to finish this season off the right way, do the right things. We've accomplished a lot, put the organization in a great situation to go forward and where we're trying to go. And just very proud of this team and the senior class and all the young guys that we've been able to be involved with. So looking forward to this game, and got a very good opponent in North Carolina. Mack has done a tremendous job of getting them this far, this quick. When he took it over, they were really down. Offensively, they're extremely explosive. I know they have a few guys out, but they still have a great plan. Quarterback, the offensive line, their scheme in general, and they still have a bunch of really good skill guys out wide at receiver. I know there'll be another good back on that team because Mack has always been a great recruiter. Defensively, they mix looks up, bring pressures constantly. Secondary is very aggressive. Get up in your face and man you, but then they'll zone you. They bring multiple pressures, multiple looks from 4 down, 3 down. And what they do, backers are very active, can run. Front guys create rush and big, hard guys to move and block. So special teams are very sound. So, again, Mack has put together another great football team, and we're going to have our hands full, and we have to play a great football game.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, we'll open it up for questions. Again, please use the raise hand function to ask a question. I'll call on you. Please identify yourself and your affiliation. After you're done asking your question, if you don't have another one, then please lower the hand too, so I know that you don't have a follow-up. We'll start off with Tom DeAngelo. Tom?
Hey, Tom DeAngelo from the Palm Beach Post. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you? It's been a while.
Yes.
Jimbo, I got a question. How does this compare to the blueprint to taking over Texas A&M compared to when you took over at Florida State in 2010? You seem to be on a very kind of familiar and similar path.
Well, yeah, we did. We hit the Orange Bowl the third year there. I think first of all, getting in and be able to set your culture, understand what you want offensively, defensively, to the players within the organization, the work ethic, the practice styles, the type of ball you want to play, who you want to have as a personality, as an organization, and in the recruiting, going out and getting the kind of guys that you think that fit. There's a lot of great players in this country, and then you got to get guys that you think fit your system and what you do. And one thing about our system, it's very flexible. We can open it up and throw it. We can run it. We do what we think we have to do with the players we have to be successful. And that's one of the things I like about our system offensively and defensively. But I think it is, in regard as far as progress, hopefully we can keep, heading in the same progression in which we had at Florida State and things we did. We were able to have great success there. But, you have to get in these situations and play these types of games to understand how to be the team that you really want to be and win championships. And this is a huge stage for us, what we've done and what our kids have done, and hopefully we'll play well. But yes, hopefully we can keep on the same track. That's for sure.
Thanks, Jimbo. Happy New Year. We'll see you tomorrow night.
You too, Tom.
All right, next, Tim Reynolds. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you. Hey, Jimbo. Happy New Year.
You too, buddy.
Jimbo, I have 2 questions for you. One, every time you've been in this stadium, you personally, it's ended pretty well for you. I think you're 6-0 here. How nice is that feeling coming back to this environment where you have so many good memories? And secondly, just broadly, I think not everybody got to play 10 games this year. How fortunate do you feel that you guys got pretty close to a full season in, given all the circumstances?
I don't really think, I still don't. I don't know if we appreciate as a country or a fan base or whatever it is as college football fans, how hard it was to get those games in. And the job that the players and the pressure and the different things that went on with the players for them to be able to do that, the coaches done a great job of preparing, the organizations and the schools in general, the administrations are putting things in place and the safety protocols and, trying to get this done. And all of a sudden they change the rules in midstream. And, but you couldn't get frustrated because no one knew. We tried to do the best we could with the information we had. So didn't administrators, so didn't doctors, so didn't everybody. I mean, it's just an unknown pandemic that we didn't know about. So I think we were very, very fortunate and very blessed. And then that's what I told our players, not only to go through that, which I think will enhance their ability to deal with issues later in life because of the situations they went through, but to do it and then do it at such a high level and still be able to do your job. And do it at the highest level and have a chance to be one of the top teams in the country. The appreciation I have for our kids and our coaches and our administration is amazing to be able to allow that to happen. To answer your question about coming back to South Florida, I mean, being in Florida, I've always recruited Florida, even when I didn't coach at Florida State. And be able to come back to South Florida, this is always my area. I feel very blessed. It's always a good feeling to come back down here. Like I've always said, it's one of the best areas of high school football there is in the country, if not the best. I mean, it's phenomenal. I love coming back here. A lot of great memories, a lot of great battles at the stadium, at the Rock, and had great games with Miami, Orange Bowls, different things. I've been very blessed and to come out with some great outcomes. Hopefully we'll have another one. But one thing, when you walk in that stadium, you're going to play a great opponent, whether it's a regular season or whether it's in an Orange Bowl. That's for sure. So hopefully we can do it again. But it's just great to be back down here. It really is.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Chuck Carlton. Go ahead, Chuck.
Happy New Year, Jimbo.
You too, Chuck.
Your players this year have talked about changing the culture, that sort of thing. And this week, Buddy Johnson even talked about the first meeting you had with the team where everybody was, kind of laughing. You walked in and said, no, this is serious business. We've got to do this. But have you seen the culture evolve and change this year in the way you want it to build the program that you want?
Yeah, I mean, I believe I have. I mean, our seniors and our older leadership have done a tremendous job of understanding. Listen, there's times in this business you have to relax, you have to enjoy yourself, but there's times you have to work, and there's no easy. Listen, the standard of where you want to go doesn't change. You can't lower the standard, and the standard is not just what you play on Saturday. It's more importantly, it's the process you go through Sunday through till you get to Saturday. How you prepare mentally, how you prepare physically, how hard you practice, the way do you just practice or you practice the right way? When you practice, you're either practicing a good habit or a bad habit. So you got to practice good habits. You got to have the right mentality that every play matters, and you get yourself psychologically ready to play, and you deal with the pressures of playing excellent football and doing those things. And I think our senior leadership has done a great job of that. And I think hopefully it's shown in how we've played this year, and hopefully it'll show one more time this year. And more importantly, carry over into the future. Not only older players coming back, but the younger guys are seeing the standard at which we want to play, but also the work ethic and the process of which we have to go about our business to be able to get to that standard.
Okay, next question, Mike Lucas. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Coach, Happy New Year. When we talked to Buddy earlier this week, he used the phrase, this is the calm before the storm. The real storm's coming, as far as how good this program can be in a couple of years. Do you feel like this is kind of the turning point for this A&M program? And the best is still yet to come?
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's what our plan is. But you understand something. No matter what you do in the past and how much success you have, the next day the score is always 0-0. You have to establish that. And I think that's going to be that our young players understand the standard in which we've set now, and how do we carry it on, and how do we improve it? Because, the standard now has to keep going up no matter what happens, because that's just the way life is. You got to continue to get better. So hopefully it does. Hopefully then we can culminate this season with a great effort and a great performance as far as playing well, let the scoreboard take care of itself. And the key to that is playing well. But, hopefully that the older guys have laid that groundwork with the younger players and established that, this is the way we want to do things forward. Now, you guys have to take that torch and you have to move it on. You have to show leadership in how we do things, and a year round, not just during the season, of how to prepare for a great season. And we're planning on, hopefully the future gets better and better.
And then real quick, a second one, Coach. When you guys look at UNC, do they remind you of any team you played this year, or any?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're extremely explosive offensively. And I know they've lost a couple guys who have opted out, but, man, their quarterback is dynamic, man. He can run it, he can throw it. Their other receiver, and they're the one receiver to tap out as far as getting out, he's going to be a high draft pick. I understand those things. I mean, it is disappointing, but I understand those things. But the rest of those guys are great athletes. So there's going to be another back on that team. And, it's like when we say we have guys get hurt in practice, and I get worried about it, and all of a sudden we get a young player we recruited, he jumps in, and I say, man, we're going to be all right. And Mack has done a great job recruiting defensively. I don't know if I'm trying to compare. I don't know, because they go so fast on offense, and a lot of the no-huddle teams that can create points with the quarterback, his legs, they can run it and they can throw it. That's a tough combination. And then they're big and physical up front, coached well. Then defensively, multiple looks, pressures, aggressive in the secondary. I mean, they're like a lot of teams we played, and I don't mean that as in a negative thing. I mean, with styles. I mean, that's kind of the way people are playing now, hurry up offense. But these guys have done it at a very, very high level. I mean, a very high level. So it's going to be one of the best teams we've played all year, without a doubt.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next, Travis Brown. Go ahead, Travis.
Hey, Coach. Happy New Year. Two questions for you. First off, I know we asked Coach Dickey earlier in the week, but is your team intact as far as opt-outs and testing goes for this game?
Yeah, we should be in good shape as far as that goes. We have nobody opted out, and testing, we're all good to go. Great.
And then secondly, I asked Coach Brown, I know when you were at Florida State and he was doing the ESPN thing, y'all had some sit-down conversations to prep for games. What do you remember about any of those conversations or that time you kind of spent talking to him before those games?
Oh, he always had great appreciation for Mack and great respect. He was a guy who was going to be a Hall of Fame coach, even in coming back on this second stint he's had. He's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, and what he's done here proves it again. But he was already going to be a Hall of Fame coach during that time, what he achieved at all the places he'd been. We have great respect for him. So the conversations were in great in depth about what you're doing offensively, defensively, and more importantly, the culture of your team and the things that only a coach can sometimes understand about the things you go through in practice, and you explain them to other folks. But they get them how they get them and those things. So it was great to have Mack. Always made you feel very comfortable when he talked. Great knowledge of the game, and you can see that in his teams and how he's played. But just always enjoyed those. Very insightful, and it always got a lot of got a few comments here and there from him. So some things as he watched film and observed, and you say, yeah, you're right. You take it, you kind of see that, but when you get it confirmed with you, or even bring something up, sometimes you don't notice as much from another great coach that on your team that really helps. So those conversations were always great and very insightful. And like I say, Mack knows what he wants in his teams, and it's proven out. And his teams have always been great teams and hard teams to play against wherever he's been.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Chris, go ahead. You're next.
Good morning, Coach Fisher. Happy New Year.
You too, buddy.
I was looking over your quarterback last night, and I know you were a quarterback guru throughout your career in coaching from LSU and Florida State. What does Mod bring to your team? Because he seems like he's right on the same track of Winston, not a Heisman track, but good quarterbacks that you did over the years.
Well, listen, this guy is, when you build, you're the guy who kind of helps change an organization and get to this level. And you've came through some tough times, you come all the way up. First of all, you commend their competitive nature and their ability to help the team have an identity. And that takes a strong will. It takes a strong work ethic. And it means you're very respected by your teammates, that they will follow you like that. Because you go through those tough times and they say, this guy keeps going, he keeps getting better and better. And he sets an example for the rest of them with the standard of how you got to work, how you got to practice, how you got to prepare. And he's done all of those things. And then you talk about him as a player. I mean, such a dual threat guy. He can beat you. I always say that he can beat you with his mind. His protection calls, his run checks, getting us in and out of the right plays, reads, and with the ball, beat you with his arm, throwing the ball excellently. 19-3, 63.5% completion percentage, and he can beat you with his legs. So I mean, he can win the game in a lot of different ways, knows when to use them all and knows how to do it. But more importantly, I love his toughness, his competitiveness, and his overall just command of what we do as an organization.
Yeah, and if I could follow up on a question about you've been down to South Florida a lot because you have a lot of big rivalry games against Miami and Florida State. Why is it so great for you to go down to the Rock? Because that stadium is such a it's been remodeled and it now looks like it's a brand new ballpark, and it's home pretty much because it's the favorite place for you to be there.
Well, we had some great memories here. We had some great competitions here, but first of all, it's a great accomplishment because this is the Orange Bowl. And to get to an Orange Bowl, Texas A&M shows we're heading and doing things in a great way, and it's a great reward for our players to be able to come play in such a prestigious historical game to college football. Like, say, there's over 20 national championships here. So they'll be included in that history and greatness of the Orange Bowl, and that's first and foremost. Secondly, we continue to keep recruiting players down here. Our brand, we're recruiting Texas to death, but we're also recruiting nationally. This has always been a great area for us. We've signed guys from down here since I've been here. We've signed more guys this year. It's always expanding your brand and what you do. And, you have a lot of relationships that are in South Florida. And so it's always great to get back down and hopefully see some of those folks and let them see you play.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, about 4 minutes left. Jessica, you're up next.
Hey, Coach, two things. One, a lot of the guys this week have talked about just kind of how close this team is with no one opting out for this bowl game and everything they've been through this season. Is this the closest knit group you've had in the past 3 years? And then my second question is, with UNC having some of those opt-outs, how has that changed your game plan at all?
Well, I think this team is very close. I think anytime you have success at a high level and get to an Orange Bowl or have the success we did to be number 5 in the country, you can't do that without being very close, because there's so many things that you go through, trials and tribulations as a player, as a team, that they lean on each other, depend on each other. You know, there's times they, man, I don't know if we can do this. Yeah, we do. Come on. Or, you know, I'm hurt, I'm banged up, I'm bruised up. And, you know, hey, I may help you through all the times it goes on. And then what you went through this year with the pandemic, social injustice, all the different things, I think it's really bonded this team. And I think your great teams, as you find out, like I tell them, you don't, and you won't even realize how close you are, even until you know, 5-10 years down the road, how much each other meant to each other. Because sometimes you're going through it, you don't realize it. But I think this group does. I think they are extremely close. And I say it's hard to have as much success as we had and not be close. You have to be, because there's got to be a respect there. Then there's got to be a love and a trust there that comes with that, and that brings you close. We're playing this game. No matter, I know they've had a couple opt-outs, but it doesn't change the way we prepared at all. We know defensively they're going to be outstanding. We know offensively they still have other receivers. The quarterback's dynamic. The line, they'll have another back in there or two that can really play in the tight ends. And you know, we're not looking at any different. We know they're going to be a tremendous opponent, and we're going to have to play extremely well. And sometimes that lets new guys come in, and they have some advantage there. They got unknown guys that are going to play that we haven't seen, so you don't know how that reacts. And lets them go at it, so they can have ability to come at us in different ways, or they may change some things. So, you know, there's a lot of unknown in a football game, so we have to be sound in everything we do.
All right, last question for Chuck Carlton. Go ahead, Chuck.
Jimbo, when you look at this sophomore class, and this was your first full recruiting class at Texas A&M, and the playmakers who have developed out of that class, even at this point, how important has that been in kind of laying a cornerstone for you guys?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that they are to develop as quickly as they have. You know, you say a guy has talent, and when does it really click in? Does it his freshman year, sophomore year, junior years? It used to be as a redshirt junior back in the old days. I mean, so, you know, it's very rewarding that, you know, these guys have done that, and it's a great tribute to two things. One, their work ethic and ability to adjust and come in and want to make a difference. And two, for the coaches developing them in the organization, when, you know, Smitty in the weight room, their assistant coaches, the guys that are in charge of them, and everything we're doing that allows that to happen. And that's a big thing, that we're doing the right things. And also, you know, a lot of those guys, you let you know that, you know, hey, we made good decisions on our evaluations, because we talk about recruiting in the guys you get. We spend a lot of time going back and looking at guys that we evaluated, successful guys that weren't as successful, and why they were successful. And also, if we missed on a guy, went somewhere else and did good, all right, what did we miss in recruiting? What did we not see in the film? What did we, you know, to make yourself better? So that's always a process as a coach you're trying to make sure you do. But very proud of that young group of guys. There is a lot of playmakers in that group. And some of those guys were very highly recruited. Some weren't as highly recruited. And that's encouraging too, that, you know, your evaluation process is doing the right things.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Well, that concludes today's press conference. Just as a reminder, please refer to orangebowl.org/pressbox for all credential pickup and parking information. Thank you and Happy New Year to everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow.